The old folks called it Whispering Pines. Not anymore. The name itself used to evoke a sense of peace, a serene place where the wind would gently rustle through the trees, carrying with it the soft whispers of nature. But those days are long gone. Now it's just the cursed village, a dark legend, stories whispered around campfires. The tales have grown darker with each retelling, each generation adding their own layer of fear and mystery. The once vibrant village is now a place of dread, a name spoken only in hushed tones. They say a sickness swept through the village centuries ago. It came without warning, a silent invader that crept through the night. The villagers were helpless against it, watching in horror as their loved ones fell ill. It wasn't a normal sickness, it was something far more sinister. The afflicted didn't just suffer, they transformed, their bodies twisted and contorted, their minds consumed by an insatiable hunger. It turned the villagers into monsters, beings of nightmare, with eyes that glowed in the dark and teeth that could tear through flesh. They were no longer human, but creatures driven by a primal urge to feed, creatures with a hunger for living flesh. The village was abandoned, left to rot. The once bustling streets became overgrown with vegetation, the houses decayed and crumbled, nature reclaimed what was left behind, but the curse remained. Everyone who lived nearby fled. They left in a hurry, taking only what they could carry. The roads leading away from the village were filled with the desperate and the terrified, all seeking to escape the horror that had taken over their home. They say the creatures still roam the mist-shrouded lane. The fog that blankets the village is thick and impenetrable, hiding the horrors that lurk within. Those who dare to venture close can hear the faint sounds of movement, the rustle of leaves, and the occasional growl, trapped in their eternal hunger. The creatures are bound to the village, unable to leave, forever cursed to wander the misty paths in search of their next meal. Their existence is a torment, a never-ending cycle of hunger and despair. Their moans echo through the empty houses. The sound is haunting, a constant reminder of the suffering that took place. The walls of the abandoned homes seem to absorb the sorrow, amplifying the eerie cries that fill the air. A chilling reminder of the curse that haunts the village. The village stands as a testament to the horrors of the past, a place where time seems to stand still. The curse is a living entity, woven into the very fabric of the village, ensuring that the whispers in the wind will never be forgotten. We were young, dumb, thought we were invincible. A group of us, out for a night of scares, daring each other to go further, to get closer to the legend, to see if it was true.
Whispering Pines. We'd heard the stories, laughed them off, but deep down a shiver of fear.
The dare was set. Spend a night in the village, come back with proof.
We were about to find out that some legends are true. The wind howled like a banshee, its eerie wail echoing through the dense forest. The trees swayed and creaked under the force of the gusts, their branches clawing at the night sky as if trying to escape the darkness that enveloped them. A cold, full moon hung low in the sky, its pale light casting long, eerie shadows that danced and flickered with every movement of the wind. The moonlight bathed the forest in a ghostly glow, making the shadows seem alive, as if they were watching us. We stood at the edge of the village, a small group huddled together for warmth and comfort. The village itself seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The silence was oppressive, pressing down on us like a physical weight. The air was thick with dread, a palpable sense of foreboding that made it hard to breathe. A heavy fog had settled over the village, obscuring our vision and adding to the sense of unease. It was as if the village was trying to hide from us, to keep its secrets buried in the mist. The smell of decay assaulted our nostrils, a foul stench that spoke of death and abandonment. The buildings were in various states of disrepair, their once proud structures now rotting and crumbling. It was clear that no one had lived here for a long time.
The village was shrouded in an unnatural silence, a silence so deep that it seemed to swallow up all sound. It was as if the village itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The only sounds were the occasional creak of a door or the rustle of leaves in the wind, broken only by the creaking of trees and the rustling of leaves. These sounds, though natural, seemed amplified in the stillness, each one sending a shiver down our spines. It was as if the forest was alive, watching us, waiting for us to make a move.
Our footsteps seemed to echo through the emptiness, each step a loud reminder of our presence in this forsaken place. The sound bounced off the walls of the abandoned buildings, creating an eerie symphony that only added to our growing sense of unease.
Each step filled us with a growing sense of unease, a feeling that we were not alone. The darkness seemed to close in around us, the shadows growing longer and more menacing with each passing moment. It was as if the village itself was alive, watching us, waiting for us to make a mistake.
Yeah, I could feel it too. The sense of being watched was almost overwhelming, a constant pressure that made it hard to think or focus. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of a branch seemed to be a sign that something was out there, lurking in the darkness, like we were being watched. The feeling was so strong that it was almost tangible, a weight that pressed down on us from all sides. It was as if the very shadows had eyes, watching our every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
The houses were just shells, windows boarded up. The once vibrant neighborhood now stood in eerie silence, a ghost of its former self. The wind whistled through the cracks, carrying with it the whispers of forgotten memories. Doors hanging by their hinges, they creaked with every gust of wind, as if they were trying to tell a story of the past. The rusted metal groaned, echoing through the empty streets. Shadows danced in the moonlight. They moved with a life of their own, creating a haunting ballet on the walls. The moonlight cast an ethereal glow, making the shadows seem almost alive, playing tricks on our eyes. The dim light made it hard to distinguish reality from illusion. Every corner seemed to hide a secret, every shadow a potential threat, making us see things that weren't there. Or were they? The mind played its own games, conjuring images of figures lurking in the darkness. The line between imagination and reality blurred.
We heard a noise, a low moan. It was faint at first, almost imperceptible, but as we strained our ears it grew louder, more insistent. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, coming from the center of the village square. It was the heart of the desolation, a place where time seemed to stand still. The moan echoed off the empty buildings, amplifying its eerie resonance.
Our hearts pounded in our chests. Each beat was a reminder of our vulnerability, our humanity. The fear was palpable, a living entity that gripped us tightly. Adrenaline surged through our veins. It was a primal response, a fight-or-flight instinct that urged us to run, to escape the unseen danger. Our senses were heightened, every sound, every movement magnified.
We exchanged nervous glances, curiosity battling with fear. There was a silent agreement among us, a shared understanding that we had to know what lay ahead, even if it meant facing our deepest fears.
The shadows seemed to stir, as if they were aware of our presence. They moved with a purpose, guiding us deeper into the unknown. The forest was alive with the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures, hinting at the horrors that lay ahead. The path was shrouded in fog, each step taking us further from safety. The air was thick with anticipation, every breath a reminder of the unknown dangers that awaited us. The journey had just begun and the shadows were our only companions.
We crept towards the square.
Our breath catching in our throats.
The moan came again, louder this time, closer.
Then we saw them, in the center of the square.
A group of figures. Their eyes glowed an eerie yellow in the darkness.
Their skin was pale, rotting. They moved with a slow, jerky gait, their eyes fixed on us, empty, devoid of life, but filled with a chilling hunger.
Zombies, the legend was true.
Panic surged through us. We turned and ran.
Our blood ran cold, adrenaline pumping.
The moans grew louder, closer. They were coming for us. Their footsteps thudded behind us, heavy, relentless.
We dodged through crumbling buildings, our lungs burned, legs screaming for us to stop.
But we couldn't. We had to keep running, for our lives.
The creatures of whispering pines were real, and they were hungry.
The village was a labyrinth.
Twisting streets.
Blind alleys.
We were trapped.
Our pursuers were getting closer.
We could hear their ragged breathing.
Smell the stench of decay.
We ducked into a narrow alleyway.
Our backs pressed against the cold, damp wall.
There was nowhere left to run.
We were surrounded.
Our hearts hammered in our chests.
A cold sweat clung to our skin.
The creatures closed in.
Their eyes glowed in the darkness.
Their moans were deafening.
We huddled together.
Our last moments on Earth.
We had been so foolish.
So arrogant.
Now we would pay the price.
Then everything went black. The village stands silent, a testament to the horror that unfolded that night. The legend of Whispering Pines lives on, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks in the shadows. The curse is real. The villagers are gone, replaced by the creatures they once were, trapped in their eternal hunger. Their moans echo through the empty streets, a haunting melody of despair. Whispering Pines is a place of eternal dread, a chilling reminder that some legends are best left undisturbed. The curse lives on, claiming new victims, ensuring that the village remains a place of horror forever. Don't become another victim. Heed the warnings. Stay away from the cursed village. Stay away or become one of them.